Hi there. My name is Yuji. Welcome to my channel. I'm really excited for you to be here. This is a space for anyone and everyone who's interested in exploring self-development and relationships through the human design system. Well, guys, I'm back at it doing more couples analysis, and somebody had requested Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton because they want to know what is up with these two. They seem to be such different people, their aesthetic, their musical taste. I mean, aside from the fact that they're both on The Voice, they seem to have very little in common. And so the question was, do opposites attract? And actually, I did a whole workshop series about relationships, and one section of it was called Do Opposites Attract? And the answer is yes. For the most part, we are all looking for what we don't have in our charts. So opposite types tend to attract, opposite inner authorities tend to attract, and we're constantly trying to connect all of our disconnected parts, meaning all of the gates that are reaching for the other side are like hands. They're trying to link hands with other gates and form definition, meaning full channels. And so I assumed that I was going to see that these two were actually very different from one another. And what I saw was surprising, which I get surprised a lot when I look under the hood and see actually what's going on with these couples. So let's take a look. All right, so this is Gwen Stefani. She's a manifester. She's emotional authority, a triple split, a 2-4 profile, and she's on the right angle cross of tension. What stuck out to me right away is that Gwen has an open G center. And I remember being a child of the 90s. I'm not ashamed to say that I listened to a lot of No Doubt, and of course, Don't Speak, the song that is written about her bandmate Tony. And then when she got together with Gavin Rossdale, how like her relationships kind of seem all consuming. There's no casual dating for Gwen Stefani. She's like an all or nothing kind of gal. And I can see why she allows men to become such a part of her process. Because what it means to be an open G is that you have an open identity. A lot of the times people with an open G feel lost in their lives, and they actually are here to rely on other people to take them to where they're supposed to go. I love the analogy of people with an open G are constantly waiting at the bus stop, and the people in their lives are like the bus that they get on, even if they don't know what the destination is. Well, it seems right now Gwen is on the Blake bus. So let's take a look and see what's going on underneath the surface there. So this is Blake. He's a manifesting generator, also emotional authority. In fact, his emotional authority is defined by the same channel as Gwen's, the 1222, which I'll get into in a moment. He's a split definition 6-2 on the left angle cross of education. And remember, I was talking about how Gwen has an open G center, and look how hooked up Blake's is. This is not surprising at all. They really complement each other in this way. And this 1222 really speaks volumes about how their companionship is working as far as having some sort of recognition in this other person. So this is Gwen and Blake together. You can see right away that they only have one center open and all the other 8 are defined. So 8 and 1 have some fun. This is a really nice pairing. And the thing that I would start with saying to them is that they're not here to prove anything to anyone ever, not about each other, not about their relationship, not trying to justify or validate why they are together. They have found companionship with one another. They are happy together. There's nothing to prove. So they do have 3 electromagnetic connections together. One of them is interesting. It's the channel of struggle, the 2838 from the root to the spleen. The fact that they have this splenic connection together is probably really great for Blake, for one. When it comes to having this as an electromagnetic connection together, however, it's about understanding that they are here to struggle to be individuals. And it's interesting because that doesn't really jive with being in partnerships. But in a way, what they're here to understand is they're not here to have partnerships like other people have partnerships. They're here to make up their own rules about what works for them. They also have the 8-1 channel of inspiration. And again, this is probably great for Gwen because it defines her G center, and it really is about a creative collaboration together. Even though the type of music that they make is very, very different, Gwen is like pop, punk, reggae, ska, and Blake has been a country singer his whole career. I wouldn't be surprised if these two collaborated on some sort of creative endeavor together. They also have channel 2034. This is a manifesting generator channel, which is all about busyness. So I'm sure that they have a lot of activities that they do together. Okay, so I started off this video by trying to answer the question, do opposites attract? And in this case, I would say this isn't about opposites. It's true that she's a manifestor and he's an MG, and that technically makes them different types, but there's definitely something about this connection that is very aligned with one another. The 2 from the 2-4 and the 6-2 profiles make both of them hermits. So I'm sure that they're good about giving each other space when they need it. And actually, Gwen is a triple split. So she needs a lot of time to be in other people's auras, potentially being out in public, even if it's going to the grocery store or going to a coffee shop. And Blake doesn't need to take that personally at all. He, in fact, is probably happy staying home and having some aura time to himself. And there's a symbiosis in that. I also want to point out that having a companionship channel like the 1222, which is the channel of openness, is all about being in the mood or not being in the mood. And because they understand this about one another, they probably don't try to force each other to be in the mood when they're not. People who have this channel are often forced to socialize when they don't feel like it. And the fact that they both have experienced this may have been something that bonded them from the very beginning. There is nothing more attractive than being seen for who you are and being honored for what you need. And if they are able to honor each other's emotional authority, the wave that goes up and down, and the fact that the flavor of their wave is very similar is really, really interesting. It shows me that they have a camaraderie. When it comes to partnerships, it's about where you feel safest in the world, where you can feel like you can let it all hang out. If they both feel like their moods are being honored, it's probably very attractive to both of them. And like I said, Gwen has this open G center. She's probably really lit up by the fact that Blake is very firm on who he is. In fact, he has this channel 515, which makes his aura very, very steady, very reliable. And that can be very comfortable for somebody who may feel like their past relationships were a roller coaster ride. I actually did end up looking at Gavin Rosdale's chart just because I wanted to see what the difference was. So let me show you real quick. Okay, so there's a couple of interesting things here. Gavin is also a manifesting generator. He's also emotionally defined, but a very different channel. He's triple split like Gwen, so they have that in common. And he is a 5-2 profile on the left angle cross of alignment. These two actually ended up breaking up because of a horrible cheating scandal with a nanny that happened, I don't know, in the early 2000s. And I'm sure it left Gwen feeling super wrecked. And it was probably especially painful because he is a 5-2 profile. The 5-2 profile is the most projected on out of all 12. And the reason for this is because the 5th line is projected on as the hero and the savior, the heretic. The 2nd line, the hermit, is projected on as the genius and the natural who is able to perform when necessary. It was pretty obvious that Gwen had put Gavin up on this pedestal. When they got married, they had like 3 crazy big weddings. I remember the hoopla surrounding it. She was really all about it. And it's interesting because he obviously also has this G center defined. He also has the 515. So there's familiar chemistry there. There's a recognition in the triple split of needing to have a lot of social time outside of the family unit. And it might have been the thing that drove them apart. And let's be honest, it's really difficult to be married as 2 famous people together. So I can see why these 2 would crack under the pressure of parenthood, fame, and everything else that goes along with it. I also had the opportunity to look at Gavin and Gwen together as a composite, and they actually are 9-0, nowhere to go. That can be very difficult for a triple split, which they both are. So it might have started to feel really suffocating, and Gavin was the one who stepped out. It's unfortunate, but it's not unusual. All right, guys, I feel like that's a really good place to wrap it up. I hope that was a thorough enough examination for you. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to get notified every time I drop a new video. Please comment below if you have any questions about these 2, or if you have another couple that you would like to nominate for my analysis. You can also follow me on Instagram at HD/Z and find me on my website. The link will be down in the show notes. There you can see I offer individual human design readings, a relationship mentorship program, and a community for conscious women practicing strategy and authority in their everyday lives. Until next time, ciao for now.